What's up, everybody? Renfail here. Hopefully, you're doing well. Welcome aboard. It is time for my final review of Atomfall, which is a really interesting and quirky science fiction romp through the British countryside, the Lake District, during an interesting crisis that has everyone sort of quarantined in a specific location, and it's up to you to figure out why everyone's here and to figure a way out. This is a pretty interesting game. It's hard to nail down exactly what it is because it's kind of like an investigation game. There's some RPG stuff to it. There is some combat, but there are also long moments where there's no combat at all because you're too busy doing investigations and figuring out what's going on. And it's also very unique in that it's an open sandbox where there's no specific way to finish the game. There are lots of different endings. There are lots of different paths you can take. Your length of play, your play time is going to vary dramatically based on the decisions you make. You can go full murder hobo and kill everybody, including the quest NPCs. It, there's a lot going on here. So we're going to review it tonight. I just finished up the game on the night of, it's the last night of early access. Tomorrow is the general release to Game Pass. Shout out to Rebellion for getting me an early access review code and an early access copy of the game, as well as the creator kit, which we've already showed off. I've already done an early thoughts review on this game after my first session, so you can go check that out if you want. And tonight's video is going to be all about my thoughts now that I've finished the game and my playthrough. Now, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free, but I'm going to show off a couple of things in game which will be related to the UI and the map, and those elements may be spoilery-ish. Spoilery-ish. Spoiler territory ahead for those people. I don't want to spoil the story, but again, some people are going to want to not know anything about the map or anything about the quest journal, so just be forewarned that when I show those elements on screen, you might see some things that could be spoilers, but it's not really. It just depends on how hardcore you are about going in with a pristine run. So without further ado, let me minimize my big fat head and talk a little bit more about the game. So, this is at its core an investigation game. So the core of what you're doing is you're going in here and you're finding all of these clues. And all of these can be broken down and opened up and have multiple steps, depending on how many clues that you find for each one of these investigation points. Now, from here, you can track leads, and those leads, which can be tracked one at a time, will show up on the map. Now, the way this game essentially works is you are in the Lake District, and there are several different areas surrounding a central location, and you will be exploring all of those locations. But each one of these maps has a coordinate system on the right and the bottom, well, left and right and bottom. So it's, you'll find various clues where you can go in and plug things on the map, but you can always just like manually mark something like that. But you can only ever have one marker on the map at any point in time. The game features, like I said, it's mostly an investigation game. But you do have a variety of weapons at your disposal, and there are lots of different types of weapons. I chose to go with the cricket bat, a battle rifle, which is kind of like a sniper rifle, automatic semi-automatic shotgun. The bow and arrow was my number one weapon of choice throughout the probably 85% of my gameplay. I went with a stealth build, which means taking stealth skills, and we're primarily relying upon that. I also had a pistol, and of course, getting a stun weapon later on in the game. Crafting is a lot like The Last of Us 2, in how you're gathering components to make items, alcohol, cloth, iodine, glass, herbs, chemicals, poison, lots of, spores, herbs, things of that nature. And the skill system reminded me a lot of The Last of Us 2 in the way that, like, these question marks represent things I didn't find in my playthrough, because there are books that you have to find to know how to learn these things. And then once you unlock those things, you then have to have these training vials of training juice, someone referred to them in game, which you need to then spend to actually take those abilities and learn them. So I learned a variety of things. I got quiet takedown, quiet movement, kick stun duration, recovery, fortitude, blue fingers, buff duration. These are some of the things that I took. Now, what's really interesting about this game is that uh, this stuff where you find these books is kind of random. So like traders may have books, but they might not have books for you on this playthrough, and then they might be different the next time you play the game, and they're going to be different for other players. So where you find the books and how you unlock the skills is kind of going to change from playthrough to playthrough, which is a very unique way to look at this thing. In fact, one of the most interesting things about this game, I think, is the fact that the playthroughs can be so varied because there is no set path through the game. It truly is a sandbox where you choose how you go about going from point A to point B. It kind of feels like if you guys remember Myst in the sense that in the original Myst game, you could like complete the main quest in like 15 minutes or something, and if you knew what you were doing. And that's kind of the way this is like if you know where you're supposed to go and you have a specific ending that you were wanting to see, like you could do that in a handful of hours. But if you take your time to do a completionist version of the game, you're looking at, I've heard from people in chat, like a 40 plus hour playthrough. My playthrough was around 20 hours, but you should not take that as an indication of how long the game is going to be for you. And the reason I say that is because I role play when I play games. So my character was not trying to do a completionist version. He wasn't trying to unlock all the leads. He wasn't trying to make everybody happy. He wasn't trying to align himself with every single faction in the game. He was just trying to survive, get from point A to point B, figure out what's going on, and get his own ass out. And as a result, I made very selfish decisions that were based around my character saying, screw y'all, like, I'll learn what I need to learn to get myself out of this scenario, but I don't really care about all these different factions. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. You don't have to do it that way. You could choose to outline yourself with any different faction that you want or not. If you don't want to go, you could do whatever you want. That's the crazy thing here. So I've had a lot of people asking in chat, how long is the game? And I can't answer that for you because it is not like any other game. Many other games you can look at and say, well, it's going to take you 40 to 50 hours or 70 hours or whatever because this is how long it takes to do the quests from point A to point B. It's not like that here because there are so many ways that you could go about finishing the game. So you could probably, I would assume, finish it in as few as a handful of single digit hours. But if you're doing it for the first time and you're taking your time, it's going to take a lot longer. Voiceovers were excellent. The writing was excellent. The game overall, I had a lot of fun with. There were some quirky bugs in early access, which I do think it's fair to mention. They did not impact my enjoyment. They were not game breaking. But if you're going into this playing it on the Xbox, I know they will patch the game at some point. But for the launch of this, I had two specific issues. One was an audio bug which cropped up a lot. It was, I'm playing 6 to 8 hours of this a day. Um, just over the past few days, and pretty much half it, like it kind of depended. Usually around towns or anywhere where there was someone who was speaking in a lengthy dialogue, and it was over a lot of other lines of that, like in a town setting where there's lots of NPCs around, but there's someone else on a loudspeaker who's talking to everybody else. The game audio would just completely stop, and all I had to do was just save the game, reload, and on the Series X, it was literally we literally timed it multiple times. It was less than 60 seconds to quit the game, reload the game, and get right back in it. So it wasn't game breaking at all. And one other time, I had an instance where I was trying to throw a Molotov cocktail at a bunch of guys, and it crashed the game like 3 times in a row when I was throwing the Molotov cocktail. But then nowhere else in the game did the Molotov cocktail cause me any problems. So the audio bug was really the only thing that I noticed it was not game breaking in any way. It was just one of those things that it's worth noting as a launch day issue. So for those of you out there who are going to be playing in the Xbox, just that's one of the things that you might want to take into consideration. Don't freak out if it happens. And then I'm sure they're going to patch it as soon as they get the first patch out. So I don't know what their patch schedule is, but um, I had a great time. I look forward to doing a second playthrough at some point down the road and getting a completely different gameplay out of it because this time I went stealth. Knowing what I know this time, I definitely want to go through and do different decisions for another playthrough, but that's going to have to wait because I have a lot of other games to play in the meantime. Now, this is the day job. We start every single morning off at around 5 a.m. Central on YouTube and Twitch, so hopefully you'll follow us along. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon here. Check out all the other game reviews I make. There's over 7,500 videos on the channel as of this recording, and I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts on Atomfall as you get through the game as well. So let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Stay safe out there, and happy gaming.